live 5 for 6 Skyview Network, sponsored by Terry Lambert Hyundai.
It is a dry and warm day today. I'll let you know when the storms arrive in your full 5 for 6 forecast.
Right now on News Channel 6 at 4, appeal denied. Where things stand now for a former Augusta commissioner. Also ahead, day 11 of the network outage for Augusta government. How the city is handling non-emergency services. Plus, summer camps are a great way to get the kids out of the house. But is it too late to register? The story, as your news at 4 starts now.
Live from Television Park, this is WJBF News Channel 6 at 4.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brad Means. Thanks for joining us. Jenny is off today. Coverage you can count on begins in Richmond County, where a judge rules on the appeal of Sammy Sias. Remember last year, the former commissioner found guilty of destroying documents and lying to federal investigators. That stemmed from an investigation into his spending of sales tax money at Jamestown Community Center. Well, he appealed back in August and again in March, this time asking to either be acquitted or to get a new trial. Well, yesterday, the judge denied both requests. A sentencing date is next. It has not been announced yet. If you have a complaint in Augusta, you can dial 311, but it's taking longer for the city to respond. From overgrown grass to illegal dumping, people call 311 to get help. Now, the calls are getting through, but with the recent cyber attack, the city's computer management work order system is down, and that's forcing departments to handle things very low tech.
We had to resort back to doing things the old way, and that is that we were writing things down on paper, putting them in files, having to make telephone and person-to-person contact with the departments that we work with. It certainly is not the best solution, but it's a good workaround for us while this hopefully very temporary problem exists.
Yeah, the office admits it is a slower way to respond to complaints and less efficient, but the calls are being handled, and when the attack is over, computers all work again, the office will have a backlog of work orders to enter into the system. Tonight, Augusta leaders holding their latest comprehensive plan meeting. The city's Department of Planning and Development hosts it, and it's really your chance to weigh in on all sorts of issues: housing, traffic, other areas of concern. The meeting is from 6 to 8 at the beautiful Sand Hills Community Center. Go get your voice heard. Meteorologist Miller Hyatt joining.
And then highs will be rising, but still around average. And also, I'll talk more about the hurricane season, which begins today in your full 5 for 6 forecast, Brad.
All right, Miller, thanks. Well, school is out, and the fun has just begun. Summer camp programs across the CSRA gearing up for an exciting and educational summer. Hannah Latier tells us what they're doing.
Organizations like the YMCA and the Georgia Carolina Council Adventure Camp have noticed more summer camp students this year, and they've planned accordingly. Georgia YMCA summer camps have already started, with South Carolina not far behind. They're trying to incorporate academics into their summer activities to limit learning loss. And the newer, yet booming GCC Adventure Camp is focused on teaching kids leadership skills. They're also staying active with swimming, archery lessons, tennis, cornhole, and anything else related to the outdoors.
The camp is actually open for kids from 5 years to 11 years old. They do not necessarily have to be a scouting family. It's open to the community, so anybody can come to the summer camp.
There are still spots open at both summer camps to register your child. For more information on availability and pricing, head on over to WJBF.com. In Columbia County, Hannah Latier, WJBF News Channel 6.
And if you're headed to camp or any activity, it's important to make sure your children are getting enough nourishment, right? Healthy snacks can be key in that regard. Health experts say you should check out raw fruits and vegetables. Nut butters are great. Try to add some protein, including turkey and chicken. Those foods can stabilize children's blood sugar. And add carbs. Carrots are a great source of that. You can sign up for a chance to get Masters tickets. It is that time again. The application process now open for practice rounds and daily tournament tickets. Applications will be accepted until June 20th. You'll get an email letting you know your status in July. The Masters tournament is April 8th through 14th, 2024. Can't wait. We invite you to join us on the first stop of the News Channel 6 2023 Your Hometown Tour. Tomorrow, we're going to broadcast live from 7 locations during our 4, 4:30, 5, 5:30, and 6 o'clock newscasts covering the Peachtree 23 yard sale in South Carolina. Jenny and I are going to be in Ridge Springs. Tim Miller doing the weather out of Baseburg, Leesville. And live reports from Modoc, Edgefield, Ward, Johnson, and Monetta. Great job by the News Channel 6 house band providing our music this afternoon.
Sonic.
The month of June is underway, and with it, Scoliosis Awareness Month. That's curvature of the spine. A recent study showed nearly 29,000 child scoliosis surgeries are performed every year. Early detection makes a huge difference. Remember in school the Adams forward bend test, where you bend and they check the alignment of your back? It was a common way, still is, to find out if a youngster has scoliosis. Well, now that school's out, healthcare experts want moms and dads and caregivers to still be able to identify the symptoms.
You start seeing them slouching, or you see them constantly going to this, or you see them constantly going like that. It's not usually poor posture like we want to say, hey, sit up right. It's usually they don't have that right proper posture, because that proper posture causes pain. So we usually refer to it as an analgesic posture, which means they're moving away from pain. But pain doesn't have to be this sharp stabbing stuff. It's just that, oh, that doesn't feel good.
And despite the condition being more detectable among children, everybody needs to be aware of the symptoms of scoliosis. If you and your loved ones don't have a written will, it can cause major headaches and only add to the grief when that time comes. Diane Lee now with a look at the top 7 mistakes to avoid when you plan your will.
Number 7 mistake to avoid: not having a proper will. Estate planning attorney Philip Martin with Merline and Beecham says a valid will in South Carolina must be properly executed, including your signature and those of 2 witnesses who are not interested parties. What's the biggest mistake people should avoid?
I think thinking that I'll deal with it later.
Companies like LegalZoom and Rocket Lawyer offer low-cost forms online, but Martin warns they may overlook key issues facing your estate. Either way, having a signed will is better than none. And Martin adds, don't forget to update the will as needed. Number 6, forgetting to pay income tax.
That's honestly the most common sort of mistake I think people could make.
While most of us won't face the federal estate tax, which kicks in at $13 million, don't overlook that last income tax that must be paid. Number 5, failing to free your cash.
The probate process in South Carolina takes about a year. It gives creditors time to file claims, and during that time, family members may have very limited access to funds and property held in the estate.
When it comes to your financial accounts, there are 2 free steps that will prevent that money from getting locked up by probate. Title your bank accounts jointly or designate individual accounts as POD, payable on death. Number 4, not protecting your home from probate. One way to avoid probate and those court fees is through a revocable trust. That's something the Crawfords are looking into.
I don't want to leave for my children what we were left with.
Still, a revocable trust does come with extra upfront costs, so another way to prevent your home from going to probate is to retitle the deed to include the wording rights of survivorship. Number 3, car title language. One word is crucial to preventing your vehicle from going to probate: the conjunction or. Any car title that lists just your name or both you and your spouse, but not you or your spouse, means half that asset goes to probate. Number 2, updating retirement accounts. Your 401k and IRA are naturally non-probate, meaning they pass directly to the beneficiaries listed on the accounts. But if you haven't updated that list, those loved ones are left out. Number 1, the invisible will.
Lost wills are just as much of a problem as not having a will. Lost wills in South Carolina are presumed to be revoked.
The Crawfords are making sure someone trustworthy knows how to access the hard copy. This preacher's daughter,
Like the Bible says, get your house in order.
taking her father's lesson to heart.
That's the truth.
Amen. The month of June brings warm weather, and close behind it, extreme weather. That's why our weather team is helping you prepare for the Atlantic hurricane season. Stay with us.
The CSRA.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to Miller and the entire Live Viper 6 weather team, we're all going to be better prepared for the season that is upon us.
That's right, Brad. And here is meteorologist Jenna Petrati with a look at what you can expect this hurricane season.
Today, June 1st, marks the beginning of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. No hurricane season is alike, and it's impossible to predict exactly how it's going to go. However, as meteorologists, we are able to look at atmospheric circulation patterns, water temperatures, and other long-range models to get a general idea. For this season, there's a high potential of El Nino developing this summer, which supports a less active season. El Nino is a climate pattern that describes the unusual warming of surface waters in the eastern Pacific Ocean. However, an above normal West African monsoon is also expected, which is a major wind system. This will produce tropical waves and lead to some stronger and long-lived tropical cyclones. And in addition to this, the warm sea surface temperatures will create more energy to fuel storm development. Since these factors offset each other, the experts from NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, are predicting a near-average hurricane season. Colorado State also makes a forecast every year, and they are leaning towards a slightly below-average season. Notice the NOAA forecast shows the potential of a slightly above or slightly below-average season, but
We're all going to be better prepared for the season that is upon us.
That's right, Brad. And here is meteorologist Jenna Petracci with a look at what you can expect this hurricane season.
Today, June 1st, marks the beginning of the 2023 Atlantic hurricane season. No hurricane season is alike, and it's impossible to predict exactly how it's going to go. However, as meteorologists, we are able to look at atmospheric circulation patterns, water temperatures, and other long-range models to get a general idea. For this season, there's a high potential of El Nino developing this summer, which supports a less active season. El Nino is a climate pattern that describes the unusual warming of surface waters in the eastern Pacific Ocean. However, an above normal West African monsoon is also expected, which is a major wind system. This will produce tropical waves and lead to some stronger and long-lived tropical cyclones. And in addition to this, the warm sea surface temperatures will create more energy to fuel storm development. Since these factors offset each other, the experts from NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, are predicting a near-average hurricane season. Colorado State also makes a forecast every year, and they are leaning towards a slightly below-average season. Notice the NOAA forecast shows the potential of a slightly above or slightly below-average season, but overall near normal. These preseason forecasts do a relatively good job being off by only around 2 to 4 storms over the past several years. It's possible for storms to form before or after hurricane season, but that didn't happen this year. We have had 2 disturbances, one of them currently still down in the Gulf of Mexico, with just a low chance of development. If this becomes a named storm, it will be Arlene. Now, it's rare, but if we use all the names here, there is a supplemental list instead of using the Greek alphabet like in previous years. Over the next week, the Live Viper 6 weather team will have a lot more information and tips to prepare you for this year's hurricane season.
And you can visit the Hurricane Tracker at WJBF.com for the latest on what's happening in the tropics.